afternoon to you. My name is Wayne. I am the Lone Cybertronian. Thank you very much for joining me today for my next review. So we're going to come a little bit more up to date after the Combiner Wars. Excuse me, the Combiner Wars visit we had last week. So what I'm going to do now is a couple of special ones. Now today we're going to be looking at Paradron Medic Lifeline, who is a repaint and retool of, well, actually just a repaint, I think, of the Kingdom RC mould. I've already got an RC in the form of Generations RC, the one I've got. So I wasn't really bothered about getting another version of her. However, when this showed up, I was thinking, well, maybe I should get an updated mould, and this provided a perfect opportunity to do so. Plus, obviously, being the Paradron Medics pack, she was in a 2-pack with Ratchet, and I don't actually own a Siege version of Ratchet or an Earth mode Ratchet, so I figured 2 birds, 1 stone. It was an expensive pack, but I do actually really enjoy both figures despite their flaws. So, what are my thoughts on the first of the two? Let's have a little look, shall we? Okie dokie, here we go. So, this is Lifeline in her robot mode. As you can see, pretty much just RC, but in different colours. Not that I'm complaining, because RC's actual look is not a bad thing at all. I mean, she's a little bit skinny, which is something that Hasbro seem to do with all female Transformers. They make them really slim and slender. And it's like, well, I can understand why you want them to look feminine, but they don't need to be this thin. I always think about RC when she transforms in Transformers the movie, at the end when they're inside Unicron's head, and her legs sort of billow out to form the back end spoilers of her vehicle mode. And it's yeah, I don't know, it's just a little bit small. But it's a nice looking figure, and the details are all present and correct and looking quite nice. I do like the head sculpt and the colours they've used actually to differentiate Lifeline from RC, so that's quite cool. Plenty of detailing. Something I noticed is that the way the paintwork's done, it makes her look half naked though. I don't know if that's intentional, but yeah, you would say that the white bits sort of represent skin. And it's like, okay, it didn't really need that kind of detailing, but there you go, we've got it anyway. A couple of things I'm going to cover with Lifeline here is the way she transforms. Now, I'm not going to do a step-by-step transformation, but I'm going to have a look at the way she transforms in a moment, because I know people are struggling with her. So I'm going to try and offer a little bit of help. Anyway, starting at the start though, she's got her head does appear to be on a ball joint, although it doesn't stay forwards. It always seems to want to rock back into place. So it does move, and it does move left and right as well. We have her arms coming out to the sides and up and down, and plenty of movement there with the bicep swivel as well. She's got elbows for days, and even the hands have got a bit of a wrist movement on them, which is nice. We do have a waist swivel. Legs are coming forward and back due to a double joint in there, I believe. We've got a thigh swivel. Knees for weeks due to the transformation, and then we've got a dainty little feet which have got plenty of heel space, and there is a reason for that. So I'll show her accessories off first. So her first one, nice and simple. She has, I think what's actually called somewhere, I think they called it an energon injector. It's a gun. It's a pistol. So, you know, take that what you will. I mean, obviously she's supposed to be a medic, so yeah, you could insinuate that it is a medical thing and it is infusing people with energon. I don't like the fact that it's clear though. I've never understood this. I think it's because the plastic that her wheels are moulded in is clear, and the windscreen on her vehicle mode is also clear. I think on RC everything's blue, so she gets a blue gun, which is slightly better, but I can't understand a clear one. Why don't they just cast it in grey? But it looks nice, and it's very RC-esque, I'll be honest. So that's absolutely fine. I might be able to find another weapon for her at some point, but I'm quite content with that one. And you can actually see on her shoulder here, that square post is actually the vehicle weapon, the weapon storage in vehicle mode. So that's sticking out. And then the other accessory she has is pretty much half of her car mode, and that's the big disappointment for me. Is she is a pretty heavy shell former that, you know, half of her actually comes off, or half of her vehicle mode actually comes off. Oops, sorry, you can stay there for a moment. That literally half of her comes off to form something else. So, I mean, you can keep it on, but I find it's easier to take it off in order to transform her. So you do have a couple of options with this spare piece here. So what you can do first off is you can fold the outer sides out like that and fold in the two flaps there. Just let that fold out. There you go. And put it flat. And then what you can do, she's got a couple of holes on her feet, so you can literally just tab her feet into the holes. If she wants to behave herself, which she doesn't really want to by the look. Come on, get in there. Oh, that will do for the time being. But yeah, so she gets a little hoverboard kind of thing going on. And that's one of the obviously official Kingdom RC pictures that we saw. I'll just pull that back a little bit so you get a better view of it. And there you go. I mean, they could have probably done something to cover this up at the front. Maybe even just like a shell or something to go on top of it, just so it's not quite, doesn't look quite as ridiculous. Because it's obviously, you know, the back end of her vehicle mode. And covering that up might have done something about it. It does flip round, but it flips round connected to this, which is a bit strange. So yeah, you can do that. It's an option. It's very viable. But then the way I prefer to have her is you can fold these in all the way, like so. And there are a couple of tabs here on the next to the wheels. There's a couple of slots in the back. See if I can line these up. Probably not, because you can't really see very well. While you're lining one up, you can't really see the other one. We will get there though, we will do it. He says. Come on, behave. There you go. And so, as you can see, it does fit on the back of her. And because of her huge heel spurs, she can actually carry the weight of it. And I much prefer this. It gives her a bit of a backpack, but because she's a medic, I'm actually fine with that. It just makes it look like she's carrying like a massive medical pack around with her. And I think that's quite cool, actually. Yeah, it's kibble, and it's enormous. But yeah, that's the way I'd rather have her, to be honest. And with obviously the bots that form Orthia, I'm used to having big backpacks on the girls. I wish the weight was better distributed, but unfortunately it isn't. So it is what it is. But you do have a couple of options, and obviously if you want to just keep it to one side, you can just take it off altogether and just have her in her robot mode. Now, I wanted to talk about the transformation. I'm aware that this video is going on for quite a bit, so I'm really sorry about this, but let me just get this up here. Now, when she transforms, what I'm going to do for this is I'm going to make an entirely separate section for this. So, I'm going to partially transform her and then point out where I'm going to. So, give me one moment. And when I said I was going to partially transform her, I really meant it, because literally I've attached that back onto the back and pretty much made her entire vehicle mode without her in it. I mean, that's how much of her is kibble. You can literally take that robot mode out and still have her alt mode. I mean, that's shell forming at its worst. But I'm not going to complain. I'm going to just press on. Now, the problem is that with the transformation on this figure is there is a little tab which you probably can't see. It's back here somewhere. And basically it's made from the connection between the two parts here. So it's around here, and there's a little slot on this little white bit here. And basically it has to fit into that. And then you see this post here. There's a hole in her back which it has to fit in, which it has to fit into. Now, for some reason, Hasbro designed this so that the post doesn't quite line up with the back properly, and you have to use more force than you really should. So let me just try and do this now. I managed to get it to work earlier. So that's lined up. And then I'm having to press down on it. And oh, did you hear that click? That's how it's gone in. Missed transformation step there, actually. That's my bad. Let me just get those out of the way. There we go. And that, you really have to use a lot of force to push that into place. I'm fairly certain if they'd have just moved the hole a little bit, it would have made it a lot easier, because it's not holding anything in place. She's holding in place on her own, so I don't know why they've made that design choice. And then the other thing here is, so we're just going to fold the arms down into the place where they should be, right into the shell of Lifeline here. Now, there is another thing here. I watched a guy trying to transform this figure because I was having trouble, and he was saying he spent half an hour trying to line up various tabs and things with these little notches here on the back, and more the fool him, because once that locks into place there, you can see there are two little tabs here on the inside, and they are going to go into these slots in the back of her leg. So you need to rotate the legs around so that the knees are now coming backwards, and then just literally just try and slot them in, and they should both go. Let's get those. Here we go. Yep, one's gone in, and there goes the other. So those legs are now tabbed into those slots on the the tabs on the thing are now tabbed into the slots on the back of the legs, and then the legs come forward like so, and then you just angle the knees out. Now the knees, if you can see, there's a little tab there, and they should line up with this little piece of plastic here. See that? They just line up. They don't tab in anywhere particularly, they just line up. Same on this side. Should just push it over and push it into place, and it just lines up and it sits flush. And the guy was saying that these knees should go into those little tab sections there, and they do. But if you just, and he was trying to do this for ages apparently, just trying to fiddle around and get these to line up. But if you just tab those two thighs in there and then line up those two pieces there and there, and you can see they form like a little flush piece, and as a result those two knees do actually go into the tabs that he was talking about. But that's a lot less faff. The only problem I've got is trying to get the post which holds the vehicle mode together into her back, and that requires a lot more force and fiddling than it ought to do. Anyway, I don't like talking about the transformations because I think it's long-winded, and I'll leave that to the other reviewers. So let's get on to the vehicle mode, shall we? Yeah, I'm sorry, no transformation noise this time, unfortunately, because I've done a little bit on the actual transformation itself. So you'll have to forgive me for breaking my continuity. But this is the vehicle mode for Lifeline, and obviously as a result Kingdom RC, and I actually really like it. It's got to be said, I like this vehicle mode a lot. It looks sleek and yet bulky at the same time. You know, you've got like the seats there, but then you've also got the sides of the car coming out, so she's actually quite a big vehicle, actually quite powerful. So to be fair, a bigger robot mode would probably have suited her. As you can see, you've got pretty much RC/Lifeline just completely folded up underneath the kibble. It's absolutely ludicrous, but you know, we'll take what we can get. But the vehicle mode's actually really nice. As I say, you've got the clear plastic windscreen there, and you've actually got a clear plastic whatever that is, spoiler perhaps, not sure, but you've got one anyway. And then you've got the weapon storage there above her head, in that slot. You can also take the weapon out, and there's those 2 slots there, which help her hold the backpack in vehicle mode, and there's a little tab on the side of the gun, so you can actually arm her vehicle mode if you see fit. But I prefer to keep it underneath. But yeah, there's not much to say about the vehicle mode. It does rolls really well. Usual thing, this is a laptop surface, so that's not going to roll. But it does roll well. There is just enough clearance for her to roll, even with her knees. Sorry, her ankles, as they are. Well, the fronts of her ankles, anyway. So she does roll quite well. And like I said, she does look really nice in both modes. That's what annoys me. She looks great in vehicle mode, and she looks really nice in robot mode, but the transition getting from one to the other is an absolute pain in the backside, unless there's a trick to it that I haven't discovered yet, which there may well be. But it's just sliding the torso down over that post and getting it to sit in place. Once that's done, then perfect, she'll transform just fine. But just getting that to go over that post is an absolute nightmare, and it could have been made a lot easier. But yeah, so that is Paradron Medic Lifeline / Kingdom RC. I hope you found this review informative, and I hope that anyone who's come looking for hints on the transformation has actually gained a bit of insight, because as I said, the reviews I watched when I first got it and I was struggling didn't really help, but after much fiddling and faffing about with her, I managed to sort the issue out, and worked out how to actually get everything to line up properly inside that vehicle mode. So anyway, I've babbled on enough for this review. I think it's already going to be my longest review, simply because of the transformation detailing. So thanks ever so much for joining me on this one. As always, comments, requests, anything are very much welcomed in the chat and comments, so please throw them at me. I'm always interested in feedback. Tomorrow we'll have a little look at Ratchet from the Paradron the Paradron Medics set, who is equally good but also flawed, but we'll sort that out tomorrow. So thanks very much for joining me this evening, and I'll see you on the next one.